I'm a bad bitch, yeah. You know I'm that bitch, can't get off of this dick, yeah. I am that bitch, now you know I'm that bitch, yeah. I am that bitch, yeah. You know I'm that bitch, I am that bitch.
Hello everyone and welcome back to That Bitch Podcast. Yes, it is me. I am back after, 3 weeks? Just about a month. My bad. I'm gonna crack a Smirnoff Ice. Blue raspberry and blackberry. That should be good. Delicious. Cheers. Oh, that's delicious. Now, I have been a little MIA. I had a lot of stuff going on, other than work during the week. All my weekends were very busy. I had my nephew's birthday, and there was Easter, and this family stuff going on. I had a girls' night the one weekend. Yeah, just a whole bunch of shit. Oh, yeah, and then I got COVID. I still have COVID, so yay me. Yeah, so been a little preoccupied. And I had, no energy for anything, which makes sense now because I had COVID and still have COVID. But it is time to podcast because I need to talk about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial because it is driving me absolutely insane. I watch it every single day while I'm working. I'm at my desk. I have it on, YouTube on the corner. Then I'm working, listening. I gotta hear what's going on. I gotta know what's going on because I love Johnny Depp. He's awesome. And Amber Heard fucked up that shit big time. I don't know if you're Team Depp or Team Heard, but I'm definitely Team Depp, 110%. And watching her on the stand these past couple days, oh my god. How did she even get an acting job? Oh yeah, because she was married and dating Johnny Depp. That's how she got any of her jobs. Because she was with him. Now, if you don't know anything about the trial going on, Amber Heard wrote an op-ed in 2018, and it had to do basically all with Johnny Depp and their marriage, but she didn't say his name. Here comes my cat. She didn't say his name, so that's how she thought she was going to get away with it. But when you find out during this trial, you hear the one guy who works at this company who had the op-ed created. They read the messages that were between employees and people that were helping Amber write this op-ed because they wrote it and then she edited it and then they put her name on it or something. Yeah. And they were literally well, we need to put Johnny's name in it. Otherwise it's not going to get any traction is basically what they're trying to say. And then they're oh no, we can't do that. And then she had wrote something, but it still attached Johnny to it too much. So they had to keep adjusting it. But they literally said Johnny's name in these messages back and forth, which is proof right there that the op-ed is 110, 150, 200% about Johnny. Just because he didn't say his name, yeah, that ain't doing shit for you. Ugh, she drives me nuts. I don't even know this bitch, and I can't stand her. Yeah, so he's suing her for $50 million, and she's countersuing for defamation of her name for $100 million. Of course, she's got to double it because she's a greedy little fucking bitch. Pardon my language. Yeah. So, what originally happened back, I think it was in 2015, I actually got a whole little article published thing on my computer here, so I can read some details too. So back in 2015 is when she had allegedly abuse in the relationship. In her testimony, she talks about how he hit her head from behind. It's all about DV. I'm not going to say the actual word because YouTube picks up that kind of stuff. Same with SA. She also was accusing him of SA as well. Absolutely horrible. But anyways, continuing on. So she was saying that he would smack her in the head from behind and slap her in the face. And at one point she said that he would force anal on her. And there was one thing that apparently he was really fucked up. I don't know if he was drunk and coked out, but he was looking for his coke and she said she didn't have it. So she said that he did a cavity search on her, in her vagina, and all up in there. Yeah. So she has alleged that as well. And what else? God, there was so much, honestly. It's like a clusterfuck in my head with the amount of stuff that I've listened and watched. But watching her testify is so cringeworthy because she can't even bring a freaking tear out. The first day, you could tell how overdramatic she was being and that she was clearly trying to act because she was making her sad face like literally pushing her sides of her mouth down. And then making it like trying to close her eyes like she's like, oh no. Like that's how her fucking crying was, but not a single freaking tear. She was discussing all of the SA allegations that she has said that Johnny did to her, but not a single fucking tear. Whenever I talk about the SA that's happened to me and the hard R that's happened to me, it's really hard to talk about. I try not to cry, so for me, my eyes will water and then my nose will start to run. But that just goes to show that I actually have emotion and I'm upset about the problem. Her nose was not running. She wasn't going the whole time. She wasn't wiping any actual tears away. She was just being, like, squinting her eyes, trying to make it look like she's really upset and making an extra frowned face. Absolutely ridiculous. And I bet you 100% that her team, her media team, and her probably just legal team told her to tone it the fuck down for the next day because, of course, she wasn't overly dramatic at the very beginning. She did get dramatic at some points, and she finally busted 1 or 2 tears out. Oh, and she had a Kleenex in her hand to make it seem more legit. Yes, she had an actual Kleenex in her hand. Yeah. And there's a viral video going around making it look like she was snorting a line of like Coke or something in the Kleenex, but that's actually not true. She was just literally posing for a picture. You can see in the video, she holds the Kleenex and then she's wiping her nose. She sees the flash. When the camera, when you first hit it to focus, a light will go on. It's on her face, so she holds it, it flashes, and then she takes it away. Literally poses for a camera with a Kleenex to make it seem like she's so sad. But then, when you watch Johnny's testimony, and I recommend you do watch it, I mean, he was hilarious at a lot of points. He was making, like, little sassy kind of comments towards her lawyer. What the hell was his name? Rottenborn. I don't even know what his first name is, but Rottenborn is his last name. And it's like he would constantly talk over Johnny, but I guess that kind of makes sense because they're trying to defend Amber. They don't want him explaining himself. But of course, when his lawyer is asking him questions, he's allowed to explain more. And you can see his raw emotion. He's being very genuine. I've watched a lot of like body language type of videos and stuff that break down their testimony and like watching them and everything. Okay, where was I? I had a freaking cat hair in my eyeball. I had to dig it out. Fun times. So I was watching a lot of body language type of videos, them explaining how even they watch like his old testimony or listen to it, or there's like some videos and clips out there because there was actually a lawsuit back in 2020 with the UK because they posted an article that said J.K. Rowling is excited to get or to buy Johnny's yacht. How could she be so excited to buy something from such a wife beater or a wife beater or whatever? So that's why he was suing them for calling him a wife beater. And he sadly lost that whole case. But I think there was also a case before that to do with Amber and he lost. Unless that was all tied together. I can't remember. There's just so much information that's happening and going on. It is insane. So, I'm going to look. Yeah, I can't even stand. She dressed like an old lady to seem more innocent as well. Oh, yeah. Speaking of how she's dressing, when Johnny was doing all of his testimony coming to court, and I think she's still kind of doing this, is that she will match what he's wearing. So, the next day, so the one day he was wearing like a black suit, say, and a tie with a little, say, I think it was like a little, say it was a bird of some sort on the tie. The next day, she's wearing an all black outfit and she has a little tiny bird on her tie because she wears a tie with her outfit. And then her hair will be up or down, depending on what his is like. And it's always just like trying to mind fuck him, basically. But you can tell it's not getting to him because he's not even looking at her. And I keep reading on all these articles and I see these little things going on Facebook and everything. And it said back in 2016, Johnny had said, she will never look at me in the eyes ever again or get the chance to look at him in the eyes ever again. But sadly, on the last day of court that happened, there's no court. When this podcast comes out, there's no court this week, but there's court next week. They were leaving. She was coming off the stand. He was leaving his like desk or whatever where they're going, because he goes out the door near the corner where the stand is, which I don't understand why they didn't plan to have one person go and hold off the other person. They both went at the same time. They stopped, and it looked like they made eye contact for a second and then like turned around, and he kind of like shrugs it off, and she's like, oh my God. Like she's like makes this little shocked, like, oh my God, she's so terrified of him. Yeah, no. Now, with Johnny's testimony, you find out all the things, you hear all these recordings because she recorded their conversations so many times. So if you want to go listen to them, go to his testimony, because I think they only played like 1 or 2 audio on her testimony so far because she's still in the stand. They play probably over 20-30 clips of audio that she's recorded of them when they're together. It's always when he's like super intoxicated or drunk. And then she also was video recording. There's actually a video out there. You might have seen it. It's when he's like slamming around cupboards and shit like that and breaking glass. Oh, I got a dog wanting to come in. Yeah, it's gone viral also. She has the camera, has her phone or whatever. She places it, she's got her cup and she's placing it behind the cup and recording him, and then she puts it on the counter but kind of hides it and is also recording him, and you see him smacking all these cupboards around because he's obviously drunk or high, who knows, and upset. I guess that was like, I think, was it 2 weeks or 2 days before or after his mom passed away. And you also find out his mom abused him when he was little, like a lot, physically, mentally, every way you could think of. That's what she did. He talks about that on the stand. I don't want to get into too many details because it's his story. I don't want to get anything wrong about it. But if you want to listen to it, I think he talks about that on the first days on the stand, because he kind of opens up about his past and who he is and why he is there. Yeah, and in that video that he's like smacking shit around in all the cabinets and he breaks the glass, he never actually hits Amber. He grabs the phone and then just throws the phone somewhere. And, fuck, I'm like blanking. This was also kind of long ago. It's like 2 weeks ago now. Oh, right. When Mr. Rottenborn, Amber's lawyer, asks him about that day, he basically is trying to make it seem like he abused her because he was drunk, and that after that's when they got in a fight. And he was like, well, I mean, I abused some cabinets yeah, sure. And then, because he poured himself a glass of wine. And this is one of the whole big, like, jokes, is that he called it a mega pint. Make sure you look up mega pint Johnny Depp on YouTube. Hilarious. You can even just watch the whole testimony for him. Even better. Yeah, and this guy, Mr. Rottenborn, they always read his texts, and Johnny talks in a very odd, weird way, and very descriptive, but when he was on the stand doing his testimony, he explains to his lawyers that, he kind of refers to, like, other movies and books, for a lot of what he's talking about in these text messages. But in this one text, they weren't fighting at the time, but she had apologized or he did or something, and he was like, the text message said, oh my God, my cat is walking on plant dirt that I have in my room because I'm gonna plant some plants. It has said, I have something else for you. I have something else for your throat that won't cause injury. And this guy, Amber's lawyer, read this like 3 times Was he not understanding he was talking about Johnny's dick? He's talking about a blowjob. And Johnny was like, could you read that again? The whole court laughs. There was one point that Johnny had said something that was so funny that the entire courtroom laughed. And then the judge was like, order in the court or I'm going to have to remove you from the courtroom. Yeah, it even got to that point. Yeah. So now the big story that mostly everybody knows is about Johnny's finger. He calls it Little Richard. How that happened, his story, Johnny tells it on the stand, even does says where she was standing and does the motions, how he was sitting, what he did when it came at him and all this kind of stuff when she was hitting him. He shows you the motions and everything in the gestures. So, he was sitting at the bar, kind of his arm was on the side, I guess, and he had a couple of his fingers kind of leaning over the bar on the edge. And they were fighting. She was yelling at him. She threw a bottle. I think it missed him. Then she threw another vodka bottle. And it hit his middle finger to the point that his entire tip of his finger. So I think it's got to be his fingernail too, what must have come off. Because his bone was sticking out of his finger. And just tons and tons of blood. And they ended up finding the tip of his finger in a little piece of I think a Kleenex or paper towel or something on the floor. And that was actually the house manager at the time who actually had to clean up the entire house of the disaster that happened. Yeah, he found it or whatever. And of course, Johnny being Johnny, he takes his finger that's bleeding all over the place and writing all these messages all over the walls, mirrors, pictures. Yeah. You can actually Google it. You'll see all of them. Some are funny, some are what the fuck, some don't make no sense, but it is what it is. Yeah, so, but her encounter of this is that he cut his own finger, and that, he cut his own finger, he kept telling the doctors and everybody else that he cut his finger off because they didn't want to involve Amber's name in it. Whatever. I mean, I understand. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing about, he says, you said you cut your finger. You said you cut your finger to this person, this person, this person. He was like, would I really cut one of my fingers off, one of my digits? Only thing that he loves to do is play guitar, and that's his hand that he strings all the, strums the strings, whatever. Uses that hand to play the guitar. So, he would never even want to or even try to do that. Yeah. So, her recollection of this is that they were fighting. He threw her onto the ping pong table. It broke. He was on top of her at one point, hitting her. And then they were somewhere down in the one level of the house. And he took the broken bottle and fucked her with it, in her vagina, and put it up in there and all over there. But everybody's comments too were but if that happened, your vagina would be bleeding. There'd be so many tears in there, you need to go to the ER. And the next day, when she actually flew back to LA because the one bodyguard had to take her home because all of the disaster that was happening, Johnny didn't want her there anymore. She didn't have a single cut or bruise on her. If they were physically fighting the way she says they were, there would be cuts and bruises and all this shit. The only thing she had was cuts on the bottom of her feet from the glass they kept breaking a bunch of glass. And that's how she got cuts on her feet. But that was it. And I was watching on TikTok, actually, there's these videos. She explains how Johnny slapped her in the face, then she turned around and said, you hit me in the face, Johnny. How does that make sense? He slaps her in the face, she turns around, says to him, you hit me, John, hit me in the face. But turns around, how does that make any sense? You're turning around to say it to his face, but he slapped you in the face. He had to slap you in the face, he has to be facing you, you gotta be facing him. So, she done fucked up there. And there's some really funny moments that you see when you watch at Johnny's table. His one lawyer, Ben, he's sitting there at the table and the judge is busy and Amber's on the stand. He puts up his middle finger and is sitting there, and then she looks away, so he makes it more prominent, and then the judge is back, so he puts it down. quite funny. He also was stealing Johnny's candy. There's a very funny clip of that you can see. Yeah. Oh, real fucked up. Oh yeah, the one thing I was going to say is that at one point during her testimony, Ben, his lawyer, turns around and kind of does like a fist pump, like, yeah, we got her, right? And very happy. So she must have said something that messed up, because she always, what people have been saying is that her testimony is not matching up to her one that she did for the UK, and that she keeps adding new details to make it fit the story and make it like more dramatic. And she constantly looks at the jurors. Now, I don't know if that's gonna work for her or help Johnny or not, but I really, really hope the jurors that are watching, all the jury or whatever, that they see how badly she's acting. And I mean, he probably yelled at her. Well, he obviously yelled at her because there's video of him yelling at her and audio. But she also was yelling at him. So definitely verbal abuse, okay. But that doesn't mean, just because he's yelling doesn't mean he's going to hit someone. Just because he's drunk doesn't mean he's going to hit someone. When everybody that he brought to the stand for his witnesses says that Johnny was always just chill and relaxed and always more happy when he was like on taking whatever prescribed medication he was taking, he wasn't supposed to be, or doing coke or drinking alcohol or wine or whatever. He was always the same or more relaxed or more funny, all the kind of stuff. But yet she's showing like the total opposite of what they're saying. There was also a psychologist, a forensic psychologist that Johnny's team brought to the stand. And oh my god, I could have listened to her for hours upon hours. She was so smart, so knowledgeable, explained everything, and it was just like, holy shit. And she basically explained that Amber has borderline personality disorder and hysteria disorder, something like that. And that these disorders, how they kind of work is that she has to make herself look the best out of everybody. She makes up situations that didn't actually happen. Like, basically everything that they've, like, shown and proved in court, the shit that she was doing, and then she's denying it, it matches up to these disorders. But then Amber's lawyers bring a psychologist, forensic one too, apparently, or something, and says she's got nothing, no this, no that, no, she doesn't have this, she doesn't have that. But you can tell how fucking biased this bitch is. All she says is she, female, her, she, her. That's all she would say. She would never say a man, a male, anything. He, him, nothing. Never said anything about that revolving DV at all. So it just goes to show you right there when she's explaining that it's completely biased. She obviously clearly doesn't like men, and definitely doesn't like Johnny. And at least Johnny's forensic psychologist wasn't just like, he, him, her. It was like, this can happen to anybody. This was this way, this happened this way. This can happen, it can happen to men, it can happen to females, like all this stuff. It made so much more sense. But oh my god, when Amber's psychologist person was on the stand, I could hardly listen. I played it on like 1.5 or 1.25 speed to get it over with. I'd like pause it, wait for more time to pass, and then watch it real fast because it was so annoying and also very boring. She wasn't very interesting. Yeah. Drink time. Let's see. Also. Oh yes, there's also accusations that he had said she was cheating on him. There's also fucking videos out there. You can Google, YouTube, Amber Heard bringing James Franco back to the penthouse. Because, oh my god, the penthouses, that's a whole nother situation. These penthouses. So, Johnny owns, like, I think 3 penthouses. So, it's like an entire top level or floor in this one building. So, he owns all of them. Now, for some reason, he lets her friends stay in them, her family, anybody and everybody for her for free. For fucking free. He even admits he never charged anybody anything when they were staying there. Now, what I was saying, James Franco, there's a video of them going into the elevator, her clicking the penthouse button, You have to apparently have a swipe. I was watching this thing on YouTube. It was like a live stream of these people. This one girl who was Johnny's neighbor or who lived in the same building even said you have to have a swipe or a fob to get to the penthouse. Because obviously that's where he is. So you see her swipe it, hit penthouse. James Franco and her are in the elevator. They're all cuddling up. Elevator opens, they turn left, and that's how you get to all the penthouses. Yeah. Big fucking cheater right there. That just shows you obviously something happened because she was still staying in these penthouses when they were still together. I'm not sure if she cheated on him with Elon Musk, but they also dated. But there's rumors that she did cheat with him, but God only freaking knows. But there's photos of there when Amber and Elon were together. He's got like black eyes and scratches all over his face. And it's like, goddamn, she beat his ass too. Holy fuck. But he didn't stay long, I don't think, in that relationship once that happened. And I think there might be a lawsuit that happened or was going to happen about her frozen eggs because she was trying to use them because they froze her eggs when they were in a relationship. And he was like, no, you can't do that or something. No idea. A little blurb that might be true, might not be. I might have to look it up. Yeah. Apparently Johnny was like overprotective. I could see that. Him being very jealous. I mean, if she was if she was cheating on him, I would understand why he's being like, oh, you were probably doing this. You shouldn't be doing this, blah, 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 blah. But then her saying that she could never wear makeup and had to be very conservative. I doubt that. But take it as you will. And let's go to another thing here. Oh yes, the whole penetrated her with a liquor bottle. Yeah, already talked about that. Oh yes, there was a whole thing about how Johnny Depp pushed Kate Moss down the stairs, but didn't actually happen. Right, that's when the lawyers were like, yeah, we got her. I'm assuming that didn't happen, because she was saying, Depp once pushed Kate Moss, his former girlfriend, down a flight of stairs. Her previously recalled the incident that led her to hitting Depp in 2020. Whitney, which is Amber's younger sister, had gotten between the two in an attempt to defuse the situation when Depp allegedly swung at Whitney, who had her back against the stairs. I don't hesitate. I instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him in my relationships to date, and I haven't delivered a blow. Yeah, but it's the first time she hit him square in the face, she says. So, there's gotta be something to do with the whole Kate Moss thing, I'm thinking. Or how she testified in the UK. If his team is like, yeah, we got her. There's gotta be something there. I don't even remember the UK trial happening. I'm really happy and glad that they actually have this, like, publicized? Is that the right word? Happy that they have it on video, everybody can watch it. Because then you can see his side of the story and you can hear hers. And basically kind of decide for yourself whose side you're on. I'm personally on Depp, clearly. Because she's being fake as shit. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just go look up a long crime on YouTube and go watch their videos. They have like little clips, or they have the entire like a 4 or 5 hour day. Yeah, crazy shit. What else was in there in the trial? Fuck, there was so much. Oh yes, she shit in his bed. How could I forget the shit in bed? But apparently, because one of Johnny's witnesses, it was like one of his bodyguards, said that she left a surprise for him, but then said that apparently Amber had said it was a bad joke, a bad prank gone wrong or something, or prank gone wrong. Okay, but you still shit in his bed, and she blamed it on the Yorkies. Okay, Yorkies poops? We had a Yorkie. They're like very tiny, like not even the size of a chocolate bar, like maybe a Kit Kat broken in half, like a little Kit Kat piece. Like, not big. And they're usually like little turds. There ain't no big human ass squishy fucking shit on a bed. Gross. Yeah. Fuck. And then what was there? Oh yeah. This was something that caught me off guard. So the wine that she liked to drink, the one like manager or whatever who kind of like took care of his finances said the bottles of wine that she liked was $500 a bottle. And she ordered like 6 to 12 bottles of that all the time. $500 a bottle? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even want to pay $30 a bottle. I'm cheap as fuck. Like, ridiculous. And everybody who was on, like, Johnny's team basically kept saying that Amber was always drinking. They would always bring her a glass of wine. All the time. So, who's really the one that likes to fight under the influence? Who is it really? You decide. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. Yeah. Ugh. But for real, I think the saddest thing, one of the saddest things, in my perspective, so Johnny also lost a lot of jobs over this accusation. For example, the Pirates of the Caribbean 6. That was set to happen. And he was set to be, obviously, Captain Jack Sparrow. And then this op-ed came out 2 days later. They called it off. They said that he's no longer allowed to be Captain Jack Sparrow. But of course, there was no contracts written up yet. But it's like, it's kind of obvious who was going to be Captain Jack, because who else is going to fucking do it? Because Johnny Depp is Captain Jack Sparrow. Captain Jack Sparrow is Johnny Depp. No one else can play that role. Because he explains also how he creates these roles. He had said for Captain Jack Sparrow, was that, okay, this man is a guy who's on a boat all day, or a ship in the sun all day, so his mind and brain are going to be a little jumbled. But since he's on water, he's going to be swaying like back and forth. So his mind is all fucked up, and his body's swaying back and forth. So that's why you see him like going all over the place. That's how he created that guy. And then for Edward Scissorhands, he explains he wanted it to be like Innocence. So he created that character based off a dog and a baby. So I don't know how that works, but I kind of understand watching it. The innocence and like not understanding everything when you watch the movie. But like the way he creates these characters, and Disney apparently didn't like how he was going to recreate and everything for Captain Jack Sparrow's character until they saw it. Then they loved it. But to have the audacity to fire him and not give him that job anymore. That job, he was going to get $22.5 million to be Captain Jack Sparrow for Pirates 6. Basically, they said he's guilty until proven innocent. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. They fired his ass right away. And on the stand, he had said, Rottenborn had said, if Disney was going to pay you, was it $300 million and 100,000 alpacas, nothing on earth would make you like work for Disney again. He said correct. He will never ever work for Disney again and to take that role back. You know how sad that is? So many people grew up watching those movies. I'm one of them. And he had said while he was on the stand that he wanted to do like a proper send-off, proper goodbye for these characters. So whenever the end of the whole sequel would be, he was going to do that. Now, that will never happen. My thought, though, is what if Netflix bought, like, for Pirates 6, and then Johnny does it on Netflix. I honestly think that Netflix should 200% sign Johnny Depp to something. They should have something in the works right now for Johnny Depp, because I know for sure that, whatever it is, will probably be the most watched, streamed thing on Netflix because of this trial happening and because it's Johnny fucking Depp. 100% bet you it would be the most streamed thing. But only time will tell. Court is now out for a week because the judge is at a conference all week. And then next week, like, so not this current week, but the next week, they're back in the courtroom on the 16th. The time starts at 9 a.m. to 5 to 5:30. They're doing it earlier now so they can get this done because they only have so many hours in court that they can have. And then once their hours or time minutes are up, they're done. Even if a witness is on the stand, as soon as that time is up, it's done. Kaput. And then the jury has to figure out basically who they're going to say wins the case. And that day is on the 27th of May. So that should be very interesting. Some people are keeping up with this trial because of the amount of shit that I share on Facebook. If you're doing it that way, you're welcome for all the content and thank you for paying attention to it. But I do really recommend watching Johnny's testimony, but I also recommend watching it on 1.25 speed or 1.5 because he talks very slow and kind of like, I guess, stutters or pauses a lot. But it's also like he knows he's on video and the entire fucking world is going to be watching and that this will be out there forever. So he doesn't want to screw up, which makes sense. But if you want to watch, make sure you go to Law and Crime. But then I also find Law and Crime on YouTube doesn't always show the evidence that the jury gets to see, because you actually get to see a lot of the evidence when it's published to the jury. You get to see it too. So I'll usually have Law and Crime until they say published to the jury. I'll pause Law and Crime and open like a Fox Washington or like Daily Mail, because they'll have it going and they have a different view. Law and Crime has a view always on like Amber and on Johnny. And then the other ones usually have it like what the main screen is at. So it'll be like straight to Amber the whole time, then a pan over to Johnny, then you'll actually see the evidence. Sometimes Law and Crime shows evidence. A lot of the time I notice they don't. So I usually have 2 streams open and I just pause one, fast forward to where I need to go. That's just a little tip for you. I figured I should make a podcast about this because I've been literally keeping up with this every single fucking day. And it's very interesting to me. Also very sad that it's happening. That it ever happened. And my apologies for not having a podcast out for, again, like 3 weeks. I've just been insanely busy and also no energy. And I want to come back with a good episode. I think my next episode's going to be like, I was going to do one about like condoms and how people are always like, oh no, I can't fit a condom, I'm too big. Well, I'm going to prove to you, you ain't too big. Okay? Yeah. So cheers to whatever night, whatever day you're watching this. Make sure you like and subscribe this video on YouTube. If you're listening to it on Spotify, rate 5 stars or go over to my YouTube channel and like the video and subscribe. Drop a comment below in either the reviews on Spotify or Apple. And drop a comment below if you're watching it on YouTube. But remember, if it's negative, it's going to be deleted because nobody wants negativity in this bitch. Positive vibes only. So once again, thank you all for listening and stay tuned for, I guess, another episode in another week and a half. Because you never know what tea's about to be spilled next. Bye, bitches.